Hello, young scholars. This is Rhonda Kitchens, your librarian, and I understand you have a research piece coming up. I want to make sure you know how to get into the library and where it's at. You can find it under My Apps under Library or Academics, Academic Resources, and Library. We're going to go here. We're going to go to Databases A to Z, but know that I'm creating you a class guide that I'm providing to your professor, Roylance. So let's go to Databases A to Z. You're going to be looking for things that are psychological and behavioral in context or some sort of research around it in looking at characters. I'm going to take you to our main database. It covers so many things in an awesome way. And then I'm going to take you to a psychology database, and then I'm going to show you Google Scholar. So let's look at ProQuest Research Library. I have it here, and you can also find it under P. When you go to sign in, it seems like I'm perpetually signed in, but I'm going to provide you with a 5-minute video on how to do that. But it's going to be the piece in front of your email, your username. For instance, mine would be Rhonda K, not Rhonda K at bigbend.edu. I'd been Rhonda K, and what I use to sign in my email or Canvas. That'll appear on a gray page, and hopefully it'll resolve to here. One of the things you might look at is jealousy. I want to make sure you understand the concept of truncation. You see how jealousy could be two different things you could look at? I'm going to put it here. That way it'll find jealous and jealousy. I think we can actually put S, and that's called truncation. Trauma, if you put an asterisk after that, you'll get traumatized, traumatizing, etc. So this is a great way to improve your search by doing some little things. Make sure I spell it correctly. I'm going to bring my screen up so you can see it better. I like to go into the research big. But I might put in the word behavior because we're not looking for stories of jealousy. We're looking for how someone might behave. So I'm going to put this. You can also put this as a different spelling that may be used in Australia or Great Britain. I'm going to use this page to select for full text, and I always like to get rid of in ProQuest the wire feeds. You do that by going to the source type, and as an exclude piece, I'm going to get rid of the wired free. I'm going to leave the dissertations, books. I'm going to take out blocks and other sources to make it a little bit more something that might be useful. Sometimes this part is really good for kind of tightening up your research. I love to look at the research results, and it has just enough. This considers jealousy, for instance, a controlling behavior, and it has something to do with power issues and relationship dynamics. These are all different types of keywords that you might be able to use. Let's look down a little bit further. Again, make sure you use full text. Influenced into addiction, self-control, pro-social. I think what I'd like to do here is make sure that jealousy appears in the title to tighten up this research. To do that, I go to Modify Search here. I'm going to make this, instead of anywhere, in the document title. Now I'm going to have far more, a much smaller group. I'm going to make sure I select full text again. This may or may not help for you, but it is going to talk to you about behaviors that might be bullying and entrepreneurial activities having to do with relationships. So another thing you might want to do is put and love and business if it's something more specific. This talks about mate retention behaviors. Those would be types of keywords you could use. This also talks about the boss and one's dog. So in here you might want to put and husband and relationship and office. I'm going to put relationship to see if that might bring it down. And I want you to see this piece as how you work with, doing your research. Envy and jealous. I might want to get rid of entrepreneurial. Oh, this has to do with relationships and friends. Oh, young couples. Couples might be a thing. A marriage. And in all these, you might be able to find a thing that's very specific. I did have something to do with Chinese culture. So if it's a culture thing, if it has to do with women over men, you might want to put a gender type of search in there. This talks about anticipated jealousy and the scale in which that's married. Jealousy of pornographic viewing. The green-eyed monster. How you can make it more productive at work. So it's going to have all types of things in here for you to look at. Let's put in the word spouse to make it more specific. Sorry about that. You actually don't want 20,000 results, so this is pretty good. This is going to be a newspaper article. We could change those out. We can have scholarly journals, which might provide you with things like actual research. A community study, that could be really quite interesting. So as you keep including words and ideas and narrowing it down to your specific thing, it's going to be more effective. So take the type of thing, the emotion or the part of the character, look at other attributes of the character, man, woman, spouse, married, office, boss, worker, are they involved in a certain culture? All those things are potential keywords for your research, and they should work really well inside of ProQuest. But because ProQuest has everything, you might want to include words like psychology and behavior to make it really effective. Now, when you see something you really want to work with, suppose jealousy, a community study, click on this title and it's going to give you an option of PDF. That's great. It's going to be the actual image of the page that is used. So it's going to talk about all sorts of different things in here, narcissism, the behaviors, jealousy-provoking things, and the things that may fuel it. It's going to have all sorts of things. The thing I love about ProQuest, if this works for you, it also may work for you here. Here's an article on gender differences in romantic jealousy. And look at the concept here. Romantic jealousy would make a great search. If you put it in quotes, it'll search it as a phrase. And romantic jealousy, yes, it keeps coming up. And you can also do searches in terms of heterosexuality and homosexuality adults. So these are kind of good. This a longitudinal study is something that's been done over a length of time. So that would give you some sort of illustration about how culture and time and things that do not change over those terms. If you don't think you have the right terms, look here. ProQuest is going to try to help you out. You can build a search from here. You could use different things. Perhaps your person has a drinking behavior. It gives you a way of dealing with that. Avoidance behavior, denial, infidelity. All of these are different terms you might want to turn in to your jealousy search. So now I'm going to go specifically to a behavioral database, psychology database, both of those actually. We have over 176 databases, and if you don't know the name of something, you might know the subject it falls under. A lot of times people make the mistake that this searches the database, but it only searches the titles. So let's see what we have under psychology specifically. We have 24, but usually you have a best bet, and this is the one I would use for this particular piece. Psychology and Behavioral Sciences Collection. So let's put in the term jealousy. And this is really nice. See, it's jealousy in romantic relationships, and friendship in an actual piece of literature as it applies to self-esteem, infidelity, and all sorts of things. But let's just pick this one. Let's drop it back. Again, this is truncation, making sure you get jealous and jealousy. And let's look at, we'll just put in the term spouse. It also gives you alternatives. I hope you saw that as you come into it. This also will give you some different words, ideas as you're looking. Forgiveness, jealousy, conflict, revolution among married individuals, jealousy, self-inflicted agony and ruin. Do you see how these come up a little bit quicker without a lot of work? The only other work you'd really need to do is over here under full text. And this will give you the items that you can go into. If you look at this particular thing, self-inflicted agony and ruin, it will also give you some other pieces. If you come over here to cite it, click on this, go down here to MLA, and this will give you a citation suggestion. Remember to copy them, but you should also correct them. So I hope that will be useful for you. This too will give you full text, some different definitions, and other wondrous things to use for your piece. So if you want, this might be the best place to start psychology and behavioral sciences. Now, let's go look at something else in a different way. Suppose you really want to find some scholarly articles specifically, because with ProQuest we have a little bit of everything. With psychology and behavioral sciences, it at least restricts it to psychology and behavioral science journals and sometimes trade journals. So let's look at something that looks at scholarly journals, which is oftentimes original research on those pieces, or sometimes overviews or systematic reviews of that, which have a great nature for you in terms of looking at things that have been written about it, and sometimes some best practices on how to control or diagnose. I'm under G, and I'm going to go to Google Scholar. Certainly you can get to Google Scholar through Google, but I have this set up to an institution. So when I say that, it's our institution. I've included our institutional code. So you can find more of these items in full text, and sometimes you can find things in full text that are only show up on the right hand side. And then I'm about to show you what that looks like. Jealousy. Let's look at jealousy scale. You can also change the publication times, but you see how this appears over here? About 85% of the time you will get it to resolve. So this is talking about measuring jealousy. We could go to the full view, and this is not going to resolve. Oh, it does. This often does not, so this is awesome. So this gives you the full text of this article, which you might not find normally. Let's look to see what this says. Sometimes when you see this, that means somebody has uploaded the PDF so that you can get to it, and it's not behind a paywall. And look, yes, you can read that full text. If you click on the title, you'll hit a paywall. If you use things on the right-hand side, you might be able to get to it. On campus, you can't get to ResearchGate, but you can off campus. We have a, BBT has it blocked for some reason, but this looks like we should have it in our databases. And this is going to take us to, we're about to find out. It's going to run us through the library catalog. It's going to tell us where it is. EBSCO master file looks like a good place to find something in full text. So essentially what this does is search the databases all together. So this takes you also to full text. So I hope you find these three things helpful and interesting. I only looked at one thing. If you ever want to talk to me about your keywords and other ways to approach your research, I'd be so happy to talk to you. My name is Rhonda. I'm at rhondak@bigbend.edu. And it's been a delight to show you these three databases. Well, two databases and a way to do a Google search on our scholarly resources. Always remember, use our scholarly Google Scholar resource to find the full text. So, well, 85% of the time. And if you can't find it, ask me. I might be able to find it for you. No problems. Have a great day.